Welcome to the Guided Expressions podcast with Martin Williams, the place to learn and be inspired to live your best life. Here is your host, Martin Williams.
And thank you so much for tuning in to the Guided Expressions podcast. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You can do that by going to Apple Podcasts. You can also go to Spotify and listen to the podcast there. You can also go to SoundCloud. And finally, listen on YouTube. So those are 4 great places to listen to the podcast. You can also go to guidedexpressions.com/podcast to get all of those links and check out everything else that's going on at the Guided Expressions site. And I wanted to talk this morning about patience. And patience is a subject that a lot of people don't want to hear, especially when you are waiting on something, especially when you're anticipating something, especially when things are going not so much your way. Patience can be a sticky subject for a lot of people. It can be difficult to wake up day after day after day and not living the life that you want to live. It can be hard to hear a word on patience when nothing in your life is really moving in the direction that you want it to be moving, or you're not seeing the fruits of your labor. And so I think that it's important to understand that patience is an important component to life. It's something that we all need. I think that the vast majority of people, especially in the United States, could use a little more patience. And that patience is not designed to keep you from what it is that you want, but rather patience is designed to get you ready for what it is that you want. Now, if you understand that and you look at patience through that lens, you're a lot more likely to not only develop the patience that you need, but ultimately have the thing that you want. So what am I talking about? I think that patience is really a mechanism to get you ready for your future, right? Let's say that you want to attract more abundance in your life. The problem with a lot of people is that they want more abundance, but they haven't developed the skills to handle it. Whether it's keeping a budget, whether it's planning out expenses, whether it's controlling spending, whether it's having more organization around your finances, a lot of people haven't taken the time to develop that. So their abundance a lot of times takes a while for it to get to them because they haven't really done the necessary things to be able to hold on to large amounts of money. If you have a child, right, you love that child, but would you give them $100? And in most cases, you wouldn't, because they haven't learned how to handle money yet. That child will probably take that $100 and spend it like crazy and then come back and say, give me more money. Well, that doesn't sound too far off for most of us, does it? Is that we don't have the necessary skills to handle abundance. So even though you have a need, even though you have demands, you still haven't learned the core lessons. And so, we end up spending an inordinate amount of time just getting better at finances. And then finally, here comes more money. When I started handling a budget, when I started creating a budget every month, and when I started writing down my expenses, money began to show up in when that I couldn't have predicted because I had a plan and I started working the plan. And then, when I stopped doing that, the money began to slow up. So I saw the pattern. And so, when you have a good enough grasp on money, money's got no problem coming to you. Many rich people have said that money is the easiest thing to attract. And to a large part, I believe it. It has took me a while to understand how you do it, right? Money is easy to attract because when you become a manager of money, you attract more of it. If you're chasing after money, then you're going to have a hard time getting it and you're going to have a hard time holding on to it. Okay. Money is not to be chased after. Money is to be attracted, right? And money will come to you when you have a strong enough relationship with money in which you are the dominant entity and money is submissive. Money submits to us. We don't submit to money. And when you submit to money, you won't have any. So it's very important that you have a dominant relationship when it comes to money and understand that money is there to serve you, not the other way around. I'll get into that on another podcast, but I wanted to get back to this whole idea about patience. Patience is getting you ready for your future. Okay. If you're not ready for your future, it can be a cause to be impatient. But if you're impatient, then you won't learn the lesson and you won't learn what it will take to not only get to your future, but to stay in it, right? The last thing I want to do is make $1 million and then lose it, right? But what you do with $1 million is the same thing that you do with 1,000. It's the same thing you do with 100, if I'm making sense, right? The last thing I want to do is get a relationship and then lose it. But the same thing you do with a friendship is the same thing that you're probably going to do with a marriage or any kind of dating relationship. So how do we let patience have its perfect work as the Bible says, right? We get honest with ourselves and we say, okay, if I really want to be this person that I'm being impatient in becoming, right? If I want to be a business owner, not just any business owner, but a successful one, what do I have to do? What are the traits that I have to practice in order to become that person, right? I've got to get good at following up. I've got to get good at prospecting. I've got to get good at organization. I got to get good at running a team. I got to get good at making a plan. I have to get good at developing products, developing services. I have to be good at studying the landscape of the business, right? All of these things, and I'm just scratching the surface, but all of these things are important for me to be a good business owner. But if I'm not developing those skills and I just want the money, right? I might get some money and I might get some customers, but it will limit my growth because I haven't developed the skills, right? Patience is all about developing skills. If you develop the skills, right, and really focus your energy on that, if you're not dying, right? If you're not living in a cardboard box or something like that, then you have time to develop the skills. It's things aren't as urgent as we make them out to be. Okay. I know that sometimes, if you're in financial trouble and the creditors are calling and, you're feeling pressure because, you may be the only person making money in your household. It can be that stress can cause you to be impatient, but that's where we have to discipline ourselves and understand that there's a skill set that we've got to learn in order to get to where I want to be. So the way you develop that skill set is if you're not good with money, for instance, buy a book, buy The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, or, one of the many books on financial stewardship and how to make budgets and how to, basically handle money, how to grow it, how to invest it. Okay. Learn the skills. And when you learn the skills, then you can be trusted with more, just like a job. Okay. Most jobs aren't going to drill you into a project. They're going to train you, and then they're going to give you a little bit at a time before they give you the entire project and then let you take it from there. And in the same way, in the same token, you have to really understand that God is not making you suffer because it seems like it's just taking a long time. It's us because we're not developing the necessary skills to be proficient in our future. All right. It's a skill to be a business owner, to be someone who is, abundant, right? It's a skill to be in a relationship. If you're someone who wants to be in a relationship, you want to be in love or what have you, being in love and being in a relationship are two different things. That's number one. And then number two, to have the skills to not only be in a relationship, but stay in it, you've got to, be patient and to develop those skills and read the books and listen to the podcasts and, get more wisdom around relationships. So when your time does come, you'll be able to not only stay with that person, but hopefully grow with that person. And whatever the case may be, if you feel like things are taking a long time, be honest with yourself. Am I really ready for that? Am I really ready to lead people? Am I really ready to have a company? Am I really ready to have millions and millions of dollars? What's my plan? Like, what is my plan once I get those millions of dollars? You'd be amazed how many people want to be a millionaire, but they don't have a plan for it once it comes. And to me, that's amazing. If this is something that you really want, have a plan for it. How much are you going to give to organizations? How much are you going to give to investments and how much is going to cost to run your business and all those things? Really take the time to learn those things, because at the end of the day, if you're not ready for it, two things are going to happen. Either it's not going to come, or it's going to come and you're going to blow it. And you don't want either to happen. So instead of getting impatient and getting antsy and saying, why is it taking so long? Why is it not here? Why am I not married yet? Why am I not abundant yet? Why haven't I been able to start my business yet? Take the time to develop the skills, build the skills to be able to handle those things. And in the midst of doing that, if you throw all your energy into that, if you throw all your energy into learning the skills and getting ready for that thing, and less energy into wondering why it's not here, what will happen is that over time, you're going to see those things start coming into your life one by one, one by one, one by one, one by one. And the greatest part is that you'll be ready for it when it comes. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Guided Expressions podcast. My name is Martin Williams, and until next time.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Guided Expressions podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify to get all the latest content from Guided Expressions. No one builds a house without a blueprint, so why are you trying to build your dream life without one? That's how the Blueprint course was created. The Blueprint course is for people who know they were meant for more. Created by Martin Williams, the Blueprint is a streamlined way to help you create the life you've always wanted. Get instant access now by clicking the link in the description box or going to guidedexpressions.com/blueprint.